You were a computer programmer, then you got bored, and now you're a lawyer. See, but yeah, at least you had the self-awareness to take that step, which is awesome. Because that's so often people can get stuck in a category. Like, I feel like that's what it was like with me for astrophysics. I love physics so much. And space, as the kind of central focal point of that, incredible. And absolutely loved everything that I learned. But it definitely just wasn't quite what I was looking for, unfortunately. So I've moved on, and that was definitely one of the better decisions that I've made, because I'm absolutely loving web development now. And again, I feel like I'm much better at it than I was at some of the calculus side of astrophysics. Though I will say, part of it definitely comes down to the schooling and whatnot, because I love university. Like, if someone could just let me go to university for the rest of time without having to pay an arm and a leg for it, I would probably do that. That's my dream job, professional student. But unfortunately, it's not quite a tenable arrangement. Jeez. Oh no. Okay, 1 second. Gonna have to focus on the game here instead of talking about all this fantastic life stuff. Okay, don't take melee damage, so I will tank the worm head on real quick. Excuse me, pardon me, don't mind me. I'm just making my way through. I'm a bit of a transient. If you would be so kind as to ignore me for a moment. Heal, heal, heal. Oh, I see. There's a trap there. That's bad. Oh, jeez. Get me. Oh no. What? Get me out of here. Wait, no one attacks me because... Shh, shh, shh. I'm just a wormy boy. Don't mind me. What the heck is even that? Holy Mountain? Entered the laboratory. Ooh, interesting. Well, this is new. Guess I'll heal up. I don't know if I'm set to take anything stronger than what I'm already dealing with here, but by gosh, I'll try my best. In fact, now's maybe the time to make some changes. Do I go lightning? Not with formation. Stop that. Did you get out of my laboratory? Oh, classic. Even having not grown up with TV as a kid, I'm happy to have had some level of exposure to Dexter's Lab. It's a lot of fun. Okay, well, that's something. Oops. One more so like that, and maybe can I add this on without ruining everything? Almost does it. I want to reduce recharge time. Okay, does this explode in my face? Is now the time to try? Well, apparently... Oh, let's not electrocute myself. That's much less manageable. Okay, it's the cast delay that's actually stalling us here, even with a minus 0.05 second cast delay. So this doesn't help with that. It would pretty much just be this son of a gun. Let's try that out. Do I have any idea what I'm doing? Not so much. Will this kill me if I try and put it into practice without thinking through first? Also probably. This we know to be true. I do like... Oh, wait. Oh, wait a second. Now that's more like it. For someone who has no idea what the heck they're doing, that's something alright. Well, let's just ignore all these since I can't afford them. Oh wait, I can't afford you. How about that? Don't want you? Interesting that I didn't have a TV growing up. Was that a decision by my parents? Yeah, they definitely... It wasn't necessarily that they were against TV, but they just had no interest in it, more so. They're a very hardworking pair, and definitely taught me a lot of practical skills that I greatly appreciate. I spent a lot of times outdoors growing up and a lot of time building things. That's partially, I feel like, why I have such a huge love for the creation process. My mom's an artist too, so I got a lot of good avenues to explore those things and to try it out. Your wife wasn't allowed TV as a kid either, and ended up as a PhD in media/TV studies. So take that, mom. She watches TV for a living now. Yeah, that'll tell them. That will tell them. I feel like a lot of people get the bounce back. It's similar that like in Calgary, there's a huge Mormon population, and I feel like you got your two types of Mormons growing up for all the teenagers. Either they're devout, they never swear, they're super polite. There are some downsides that I won't get into too much, but the flip side of that is the rebel Mormons, which are all the teenagers that did all the drugs, constantly wanted to drink, swore the most out of anyone that I've ever heard. Like, sailors ain't got nothing on a renegade Mormon child. But it's definitely almost a similar thing, I feel, where not growing up with TV, it's very tempting sometimes to just renege on that completely, go the opposite direction, and get absorbed, especially with how easy it is to do these days. I mean, just give me some Netflix and I'll be lost for days. Tons of nerdy Mormons playing D&D and Magic. Oh, for sure. That's the thing. I always want to be careful of how I talk on stream because there are a lot of downsides to the Mormon Church, and I've seen a lot of the dark side growing up around them. But what I can say for sure, in a positive light, is that Mormons have a sense of community like no other. So if you want a place to just feel loved and belonged, I mean, the Mormons are great for that. I went to a lot of youth groups growing up with friends of mine and had a heck of a time. Got to experience so many cool things. Did a lot of like building snow forts and making quinzies and whatnot, and that's all good fun. I got to forge a knife once as part of a youth retreat thing. So definitely lots of good stuff there, and I wouldn't be surprised to have a huge population in D&D and Magic because they are, I mean, just people at the end of the day, and also people who really value community. So when you put those things together, all people love the nerdy stuff. They just might not have experienced it in a good way. If you kind of get brought into D&D or Magic in a really gatekeepy environment, it's going to feel like crap, and you're going to hate it. But if you just find the right group, the right people to get in with, then you're going to have a heck of a time because, honestly, it's just fun. Especially D&D is storytelling is a human experience. Everyone loves storytelling. It's where humans came from, and it's where we still are. Even if you're not great at it, I want to hear your story, and I want to know kind of what goes on in everyone's head. And D&D is a good avenue for that, especially, again, if you just have a good group who is understanding, likes to get to know you, make sure that things are kind of tailor fit to be a good time. Also, I have no idea what the heck is going on in game. Getting super sidetracked by talk of Mormons and nerdom. All the good stuff. I take back that phrasing a bit. D&D, yes, all the good stuff. Racism within the Mormon Church? Not so great. Not so great. Oh. Okay. Well, I'd hope this is the final boss. It seems like it's about that time, right? Give me a moment, sir, before I interrupt your very important work of caressing this sphere of energy. Last chance for a bit of a drink there. And okay, do I just start blasting? No. There are these ledges, which, I mean, I'm partially fluent in the language of boss mechanics, and this looks like it might be something that I have to stand on to avoid, a death laser, maybe rising lava from the ground, what have you. Many options, many ways to skin this cat. Huh. Nope. Sorry, did I get too close, sir? I feel like there's some tension between us. You don't seem relaxed. Hey, friend. You don't mind if I also caress... Oh, the salt is what this magical sphere is, of course. We all knew that. Well, here's to dying in new and exciting ways. Pick up the salt. I probably will. Let me take a quick peek this way. That's a void. That's a void if I ain't ever seen one. Whether there's something across that void, yet to be determined, but... I don't want to take their salt. They seem pretty happy. You know, they're pretty chill. But let's not faff around too much. I will start this boss fight, I promise. I won't just keep making the same iterative joke over and over again. Though it does terrify me. Well, here's to chaos. Oh, speaking of lava rising from the depths. I see you. I see you. Fortunately, I have flame immunities. That seems to be helpful at the moment. Ooh, bullet hell. Okay. I can get down with it. I've played Gungeon. I've played Isaac. I've never done it quite as much in a Flappy Bird-esque style as we are now, but I feel like I can achieve something here. Should I be blasting you? Is that better? No, that's not better. Let's make sure we start killing you as soon as possible. I feel like if lava gets too high, we might be in trouble. Are you attacking me in a melee sense, maybe? Also, wait, do you have a health bar? I just saw... No. Huh. Imagine a lot more reactionary communities are evading the problems of modernity, have more avoided the opioid crisis. Definitely to a certain extent. I feel like, similar to kind of stuff that I was hinting at earlier, there's a huge population of Mormons that will immediately kind of go full swing the opposite direction in order to get away from some of the restrictions that they've grown up with. And that's where you get into some unfortunate results in those kinds of regards. Because, yeah, I mean, the Mormon population is pretty big in Calgary, and Calgary definitely has had a bad time with the opioid crisis. So I feel like it definitely doesn't give you any real sense of immunity, but that's an interesting kind of prospect for sure. Because I do agree that, yeah, a lot of reactionary or, you know, more conservative groups avoid those problems because they are very much, you know, stuck in their ways is maybe a negative way to phrase it. Maybe kind of layering my own biases on top of that just a smidge, but I can definitely see that being one of the positives of a more conservative approach to things, is getting to avoid some of the modern issues that plague us. Entered the work. Almost a pacifist. Being fire immune seems good there. Oh yeah, that seemed... Fire and melee immune, I feel like both kind of made it easy. There was the one bullet hell sequence, but besides that, I was feeling pretty good about stuff. I was feeling pretty good. Your younger sister's like 4 or 5 years younger. All the people you graduate high school with are generally okay as far as you know. Pretty much everyone she graduated with has either died or been busted for opiates or heroin. Yeah, it's wild how much of a full-scale pandemic it was and is still. I feel like it's been overshadowed so much by COVID that we can sometimes forget that it's still an ongoing thing. But yeah, it's a sad fact that the majority of people, even if they haven't been personally affected in those ways, have at least have 1 degree of separation for sure. Because yeah, I've had a couple friends that are amazing people, incredible people, and unfortunately have passed away. So it's a real shame for sure. But a huge part of that is, you know, good education, making sure that we have the oh, why am I blanking on the kits? Naloxone? Nah, that's not right. But the preventative kits on hand and making sure that those are readily available. You know, things like safe injection sites have always been a big proponent of. I'm so sorry, friend. Undamaged. These like achievements maybe? But yeah, no, there are a lot of good kind of social networks that need to be in place that we need to make sure have been good, and we need to make sure that we're still taking those into account because it's so easy to forget for sure. We're so quick to kind of move through to the next big crisis that I feel like a lot of times we let them go by the wayside. The COVID has been so bad that it overtook overdoses, primary cause of death for a few years, and people sort of forgotten about the opiate problem. Anytime something's not like directly in our vision, I mean, we all have blinders on to a certain degree, right? Whether that be kind of internal biases or just what your sphere of influence kind of intersects with. I mean, it's impossible to follow everything, so a certain amount, fair enough. But for things of health and making sure that, you know, we don't lose great kids, that's important. And this very serious talk, it sucks. I don't want to undercut it because it's super important, and I do really want to stress that. But yeah, Safid, we did win. What? I wasn't even paying attention. I was not doing anything, but I mean, I'll take it. Heck yeah. Work at a men's 30-day rehab, and it's pretty bad out there. Oh, I can only imagine. But good on you for helping out and trying to do your best to work within the community to make a change. That's really commendable spot for sure. We found El Dorado, the city of very large rocks. That's a Road to El Dorado reference for all my early DreamWorks fans out there. Because while I might not have had TV growing up, I did have Road to El Dorado on VHS. And that, buddy, got a heck of a lot of playtime. Oh, I'll tell you. But there we go. Complete the game. You are dead. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's always going to end in death in Noita, apparently, even if we managed to make it through. I like game completed. We didn't win the game. We completed it. Very subtle but distinct separation of concepts there, apparently. But yeah, no, my brain is kind of falling apart now, torn between making sure that we're talking about the serious concepts and giving that the airtime it deserves, as well as being excited about, you know, video game, do good thing, serotonin, dopamine, all firing off. Holy moly. Instead, I'll just try and straddle both and not achieve either to a good extent. That seems great for me. That's about where I land. I'm generally somebody who, even to a fault, ends up somewhere between things, trying to find a balance, trying to strike that balance. Okay, well, time to delete it off our hard drive. That's it, folks. One game. No, not quite to that extent, though I will say that this probably means an end for Noita on stream, at least for a little bit. I've been excited to potentially try out something else on our Wednesdays. We don't get a lot of stream time. Sundays, not going anywhere. DCSS, that series is still so much fun, and I'm going to get to the end of the species list, getting the win with each of them. Don't you get me wrong. Mark my words on this day. But Wednesday streams, the other time that we're able to get on in the week, I've definitely been excited to try out a few different things. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions, always let me know. I mean, Noita came about because Ninth was raving about it, and I'm very happy to have gotten the recommendation because I had a heck of a time the last couple months. I feel like we've been playing this. In fact, let's take a quick peek. I'm curious. I'll tab out of here real quick. Wow, that's much better than I expected. I only have like 24 and a half, 25 hours in this game. I expected it to take like 100. Apparently, throwing in a few of those shorter streams here or there because I've been a little bit swamped actually kind of worked out. I completed the game. I retired, played golf. For a while, I was into golf, but never very good at it. I bought a sports car, but it was a used one and a few years old. I had a brief melanoma scare, but it was benign, and I died peacefully in my sleep one autumn evening. But doesn't that sound just lovely? Just fantastic. The privilege to get into things just to fall out of them. I mean, that's all we can really ask for in life, right? If there was ever an epitaph that would describe our our time in Noita. That's it there. I mean, what else is a retired wizard to do but try golf? Kind of hate it. Buy used sports cars? Kind of hate it. And have brief medical scares that end up going nowhere. My kids didn't resent me. Oh, that's all I can ask for. I mean, optimistic. I did kind of uh, ditch them and my partner for years at a time, delving deep into the dungeons without anything to show for it. Those are the best kinds of medical scares. Here, here. Definitely cheers to that one. May I hope that all of our medical scares are benign. Wouldn't that be lovely? Especially for me, that's something I could definitely be in desperate need of because we have free healthcare or socialized healthcare in Canada, and yet I don't take advantage of that because I'm a bad person, and my partner is constantly trying to help me out, tell me that I should go see a doctor, and I should, but I won't because I'm lazy. I guess it's not a good reason. I just cross my fingers and hope that all of my medical issues are benign, and that's probably not true. Might have horrible things going on internally right at this very moment, but if I believe hard enough, maybe they won't affect me. Right? Manifest destiny, isn't that what that whole thing is about? The American dream? Believe hard enough in something that it becomes your reality? Something to take from there. Oh no, Babs is here? Oh no. You weren't supposed to hear that, Babs. I'm 100% bad. Go to the doctor. Quick, everyone, look natural. We weren't talking about anything. Look, I won the game, Babs. Wow. Wow. Never got good news from or you never get good news from a doctor? Generally not. I mean, the positive mood or the positive news is when it's nothing at all, right? That's a much more literal interpretation of the whole no news is good news mentality. I'm pretty sure Manifest Destiny is the awful American thing. Yeah. I've decided to reclaim the phrase and come up with my own thing. It's just my hopeless optimism in the face of overwhelming um, issues, obstacles, roadblocks, what have you. Wow, so proud that we won the game. Call the doctor. Oh no. Well, I'll regret mentioning this one on stream. Never do know when you're lurking around, Babs. Though I love having you here, of course. Even if you're trying to force me to actually take care of myself, have baseline semblance of self-preservation. Next thing I know, you'll be telling me to drink water and actually eat more than once a day. Can you believe this? No, I appreciate it, Babs. You try your best. It's a shame that I'm somehow both apathetic to things while also being stubborn to an absolute degree. It's not a great combination, and I'm not proud of it, but it is me. One of the awful American things when talking about baby and the other one. Those are two of many. No offense, though I know that the majority of Americans that hang out in this chat don't mind a little bit of trash talk here or there. We're all on the same page. We know what's wrong when we see it, or at least we try to. We try our best. You have to work long hours to afford health insurance that you can't use because you don't have enough time to go to the doctor and use it. America. That sounds about right. Yeah, the Filipino War being the other one, and the Tampico affair, institutionalized racism. Not that we don't have that here. Don't get me wrong. That's not an American unique thing. Unfortunately, institutionalized racism is everywhere. Hooray. That's just great. What a positive note. Though, again, I do like to stress that we're being glib about it, but the fact that these aren't positive notes are important, and I like being able to talk about them. Look, we're all North Americans, so we can be in the same club. Perfect. The club of crappy countries with crappy systems. Whoop whoop. The good news is every country has their own genocide period. Yay! We did it! Canada's just better hiding out skeletons. Exactly. We have this whole surface level politeness that goes a heck of a way to making people overlook the horrible atrocities that we've committed over the years, the centuries, even. It's the same thing. How if you're Minnesota nice, you can get away with a lot. You can be complete dirtbag to people's face, but it's super passive aggressive, where you just sound like the most polite, well-meaning person on the planet. So how could you possibly mean any of the horrible things that you said? No, we can definitely hear that. Minnesota. Minnesota accent is one that I should practice. In general, I should practice accents. I always, well, to a certain extent. Let's not cross any lines into horribly offensive if possible. But I feel pretty comfortable. I should learn all the Canadian and American accents because that would be a lot of fun, and I don't have to worry too much about offending people. Sometimes I get a little bit iffy with like Scottish and English because I mean I'm garbage first of all, and second of all, there's a whole lot of culture that goes into those dialects that I don't want to infringe on. I guess Australian. I mean, we've heard my Australian impression once before on stream, and it's not good either. Something I got to practice. Got to work on my krill for sure. Definitely. I was watching. FS Brain is really great at dialects, and they did a bunch of research in Krill because they wanted to voice one of their Wildermyth characters with that dialect, and it was really cool just hearing about some of the research that went into that, how some of the sounds, kind of the mouthfeel of it all. That's the thing, because of my partner Babs, who's hanging around a bit in chat here today. Um, she started out in linguistics, and that kind of jump started my interest in that, and I was able to fit in an intro linguistics course. So that's about as far as I know. Definitely in no means, in no way, an expert on the subject, unless you count, if we're on the internet, then I'm an omnipotent god of knowledge, and I know everything there is to do with linguistics. But it's a super cool field and super interesting, and I love hearing about some of the things when someone's talking about their like alveolar palate for how they achieve the accent they're going for. Do I remember what they're talking about? I should, but I don't. But it's cool as well. It's crazy how all those things can coincide. You can read many times along the Minnesota Canada border, so gorgeous up there. The rest of the state you can take or leave. Definitely. No, it's a nice place. I think I've only traveled through Minnesota before. Barely spent any time in the airport, but I mean it has a lot of the kind of Canadian wilderness kind of feel to it. Whether that was just kind of a facade that's put forth in the airport in the airport to give a wild sense of adventure, to be determined. But it definitely seemed to be a really nice spot in regards to the environment and some of the things you can get up to in nature there. I mean, they have nice mountains. That's all I can really ask for. You heard my little spiel on mountains earlier. I do love them. I do love them. Speaking of Scottish, I have to check out people from, oh gosh, and see, this is already bad. Hebrides, I'll have to check it out. Oh, Scottish? Again, I can't do an accent worth a damn. But someone with like a good Scottish burr that has all that sweet um, lingo or dialect, as it were, so fun to listen to. In fact, one of the characters in the current Wild Bow serial I'm reading right now has a Scottish burr, and I love it. Like trying to dissect it, anytime I see a phrase that I don't understand or a word that's in a context that makes no sense to me as a Canadian English speaker, I do love to look it up. And there's a wealth of fun nomenclature language to be dealt there. I mean, it's similar for most of the places. I feel like States has some fun lingo, but generally because I'm a North American boy, or at least for kind of most of my adult life, I gotta love the British, Scottish, Irish, Australian, all the slang. So great. Also, slang is the word. I kept saying lingo because I was like, there's a word for this. I know there's a word for this. Slang. That's the word for it. Also, I should have probably put my score up on screen before I went off on this random diatribe. Whoopsie daisies. It's Hebrides. Oh, okay. Perfect. Well, thanks for letting me know and teaching me. Will I remember it? I hope so. I hope so. I try my best to remember how to say things, much to my own disappointment in the future when I don't whatsoever. But I'll definitely have to look up Hebrides and see. Again, a good accent. So fun. So fun to listen to. I wish I could appreciate accents in other languages. That's how much I enjoy hearing different dialects. Need to learn, become more fluent in French and Spanish. Because Spanish, I could maybe, on a good day, tell apart like a Mexican Spanish from a Spain Spanish. But that would more so be a thing of lingo and slang, I feel, and kind of what kind of words and verb conjugations are used rather than actually having an ingrained understanding of the dialects and what goes into them. But anyway, this has been our tangent, our monologue on languages and the beauty of such. I will, maybe as a final note, mention that I think English is an ugly language in general. It's a real mess. It's a real mess. There are tons of beautiful languages out there, both in the way that they sound, the tonal quality, as well as the structure and actually having some rules that, are followed instead of every rule having an exception seems optimistic. I feel like every rule has many, many, so many exceptions in English, and you just kind of got to know it. Just do your best. If you're English as a second language, I commend you. You're so much better at English than I am, even come close to in other languages. And that's saying something given what a nightmare it is as a language, English, that is. I said that was the final note, but it's not going to be because I just remembered the other funny thing that I always like to mention with that is that I had a Spanish exchange student in high school and he loved English. He really enjoyed learning English. He loved to kind of to speak with native English speakers and to kind of test the limits of his knowledge because he was incredible. He had a really kind of deep understanding, completely fluent, no issues whatsoever. Better understanding than I did, just because as a native English speaker, I never learned what a lot of the actual verbiage is for, preposition. It wasn't until I was an adult that I knew what a preposition was. I still, on the spot right now, probably couldn't give you a definition that's at all acceptable. Except with this exchange student that I had, when I was in Spain, on the flip side of the trip, there was one night that he got very drunk, very, very drunk. And I was taking him home. And the entire walk home, first of all, he only spoke Spanish. He completely forgot his English, which fortunately I, at the time, had a pretty good understanding of conversational Spanish. I'd be way out of my depth now if I had to guess, but I at least could, talk with him and understand what he was saying. And he spent the whole walk home talking about how ugly English is and how Spanish is beautiful, it's wonderful, but English is ugh. And it was so great because any other day of the week he would talk about how much he loved the stuff, but completely changed tunes there. Saw a video demonstrating the likely accents of English people over the last 500 years, and the earlier accents were more pleasant, in your opinion. That's really cool. That's a really neat video for sure. Aprendes el français, c'est une langue belle. Oui, oui. Do I remember any of my French? I should really know French. I mean, I know je m'appelle Doran, comme t'appelles-tu? Je ne parle pas français. Je parle. Oh, what is. Petit. Un petit peu. Un petit peu. Je parle français un petit peu. Zut, Allah. Exactly. That's all you need, right? That's a pretty mild Hebridean accent. That's cool. Link it if I want. Definitely go for it, Stacy. Yeah, if you have it there. Here's some from the Outer Hebrides for later. Thanks, Dr. Part. Yeah, I skipped over that one, and that's the mild one. I'm excited to try it out. Romance languages are all pretty nice in your opinion. English just borrows from too many languages, and it's become a Frankenstein mess. That's a great way of putting it, Babs. Definitely. Mon Dieu, zut alors. All the French that you need for a good conversation. Oh me oh my. I now have some extended family that speaks French. They all live in Ontario, but they are all French Canadian initially. So now I'm like not even slowly but surely, I'm rapidly running out of excuses as to why I don't know French. I mean, I'm Canadian. I have French Canadian family. I mean, my direct like aunt and uncle have known French their entire lives because my uncle is French Canadian. So again, I should learn French. I want to before I have kids, so I can teach my kids French as they're growing up and they're in their kind of critical language phase. Makes it so much easier than learning it when you're older. So that's the goal. But Babs can attest that that's probably lofty. I'm probably optimistic on the chances of me actually achieving that because I go all over the place. Thanks. Can get your linguistic fix after finishing that degree. Yeah, I'm excited to go through that video for sure, Stacy. Thanks for posting that. We got some good stuff today. Lots of good conversation topics. I like talking about serious things every once in a while. I feel like it's been a decent while. I mean, when I first started streaming, or kind of in the meddling period between, I actually took these Wednesday streams as an opportunity to talk about more serious stuff. We had lots of really awesome conversations, but I've definitely kind of gotten a bit more brain dead as the months wore on, got a bit busy with other stuff, and also never want to force it. If it comes up organically, I love it. I will talk about anything with anyone. I might not agree with anything that anyone says, but I will at least talk about it. I'm in a privileged position where I'm able to achieve that, so I definitely recognize that, but I do enjoy it. Critical period before community start early. You'd say French or Spanish and ASL. Yeah, definitely ASL and French, I would think. I love Spanish, and I'm definitely better at Spanish, so I have a little bit of momentum there. But as a Canadian, it's really nice to know French. You can get a lot of good jobs. I mean, even in like the teaching field, you know, Babs, how sought after it is for people to have French and English language proficiency. Definitely really nice. If you want to work in the airline industry at all, if you want to work, you know, anywhere in the country without having to worry too much about it, people love bilingualism for good reason. It definitely has a lot of positive character traits that can pretty safely be attributed to those people. And yeah, teaching, government, healthcare, exactly. Yeah. There we go. That's a much better way of phrasing it instead of me stumbling my way through being like, lots of jobs. Yeah. Appreciate it. Or you think this video actually is just a French documentary maker talking? She didn't include any of the footage. Okay. I'll look it up though. The Hebrides um Hebrides it was? Hebrides? Oh gosh, I've already lost it. He's gone. He's completely lost it. He's out of his mind. But I'll definitely look it up regardless. I mean, I'll still watch that link you posted, Dr. Pirate, because it's, especially if it's a milder one, it might be a good approach into the dialect. And then yeah, I'll definitely look up some more because I love a good burr. So nice. So nice. But if you didn't guess it by the fact that we've just been stalling on the windscreen forever, we are going to be heading off pretty quick here for the evening. I hate to because I'm loving this. Good conversation. I'm a sucker for some good conversation. Serious talks, hilarious talks, silly stuff. It's all fantastic. She does pronounce it properly. Oh, cool. In Scotland, they call it a brogue. Oh, right. Yes. A good Scottish brogue. Right, right. I'm showing my North Americanism by calling it the burr. But I've definitely heard the word before, and I'll remember the next time. And thanks, Stacy, for the follow. I appreciate it. Definitely hope to see you around in the future. Very much enjoyed your contributions to the overall conversation. In general, I should disclaim that I adored and appreciate all of your contributions to the discourse. Had such a fun time talking about things tonight. I mean, heck, had a good time in the game too. How about that? I was making jokes earlier in the stream about how I either can have good narrative conversation or play well, but why not both? Por qué no los dos? I don't know how to say it in French. No, everything that's come to mind is more Spanish words. It's like también. No, también is also in Spanish. Stupid. In general, I have a bad spot for that. In fact, I was mentioning in my class earlier today the fact that I think I hotwired my brain in a bad way by taking both French and Spanish in junior high and high school, because sometimes those wires get a little bit crossed. It's hard making sure everything's running parallel instead of accidentally answering something in French in your Spanish class. Doing a test, oh gosh. Hopefully I can get like half points if the Latin root is the same between the two of them. Maybe. Unfortunately, it's not quite as solid as like Spanish and Italian. So much overlap. Not the same language, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna die on that hill and completely ostracize all my Italian and Spanish speakers out there. But a lot of overlap at the very least. So I feel like you can kind of cheese your way through. One of the Spanish girls that I went to school with in Spain during that exchange that I mentioned spent, I think it was 2 weeks at like a program, a boarding school program. Her two roommates, Italian. They just talked back and forth to each other. They spoke in Italian, she spoke in Spanish. They kind of got it enough to get by. They were friendly with each other and enjoyed their time together. It worked out. Well, you don't think the French have a word for compromise, let alone a phrase? Oh, that's great. They gotta work on that. Compromise is the essence of any interaction. Which is a shame, because at the end of the day, a good compromise leaves all parties unhappy. So apparently we're just on a downward trend to unhappiness. And on that optimistic note, we can start. Oh boy. Doing a little bit of an outro here. And bring up the good old Adrian Talons to help me out. Make sure that I don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. Instead, you can enjoy the acoustic dulcet tones of the Polybridge soundtrack. But yeah, again, I really don't want to say goodbye, and I'm bad at saying goodbyes. I will drag them on for far too long. I'm a nightmare to be on the phone with. It's not going to be a no you hang up situation. It's instead going to be like, oh, you know what you just said made me think of this new conversation tangent that I think we should go on. Maybe spend a good 10, 15 minutes talking. I mean, one of my best friends that I was roommates with for a long while, him and I would have the most ridiculous conversations. Usually it was like see each other in the kitchen, start chatting. We're both just standing there thinking it'll be a 5-minute talk. 2 hours later, we're both like, okay, we really gotta get going. We have stuff to do. But good talk, incredible. We never sat down because we kept thinking that it was gonna end and just dragged on forever. So now I subject all of you to that as I just continue this goodbye, stretch it out as far as it will go. But I'll try my best. In all seriousness, I'll try my best not to. I had a heck of a time tonight. I'm super surprised that we won. It's kind of a shame that we didn't get to do any Twitch integration, because that's always a lot of fun, but I'll take what I can get. Winning this game with less than 25 hours under my belt? That's pretty awesome, at least from what I understand. The general consensus that I've received from the various viewers that have filtered through having played the game. That seems like something I should be very happy about, so I will be. I'll definitely pat myself on the bat and the back for that one. And yeah, had a heck of a time. I hope you all enjoyed watching as well. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day. Whether you're contributing to the wonderful chats, if you're lurking in the background, or if you're watching this down the road on YouTube, each and every one of you is a huge part of our our little baby community that we have going here, and I appreciate the heck out of you for it. Absolutely adore doing this, adore each and every one of you, and yeah, love you for it. Before we head off today, we will, of course, find something to raid. Also, I should have said Professor Secha Flunculus. I also thank you for the follow. Sorry I missed that a minute ago. Got too absorbed in my own narrative process here. But I appreciate the follow, and again, you joining along for us, getting us talking about some stuff. Always super lovely. Sometimes all I need is that kick in the rump, and then you can't get me to shut up. So that's your new problem now. Instead of me just being a little bit too silent while we play, won't let you get a word in edgewise. But more importantly, let's get back to that raid process that we were just promising, shall we? It does look like Brinth is currently playing some Tunic. I mean, if you want some fun conversation and somebody who is good with Twitch interaction, definitely stick around, say hello to Brinth. Always a fun time there, and Tunic is a beautiful game. It's actually one of the contenders for what I'll be picking up next week on Wednesday, because it's so cute. It's like a very kind of action-y, I hate using the phrase Souls-like, because it's overused for sure, but I feel like that's a good representation. You know, the game has, I mean, it's not called an Estus Flask, but it has an Estus Flask. So I'm tempted to throw that qualifier in there. Regardless, a top-down action game, story, adventure game, I guess is the best way to go. I also see a lot of comparisons to Zelda. So definitely stick around, watch Brinth play it, see what you think, and hey, maybe we'll end up playing the same thing from the start next week and have a good time. Super cute too. I don't know if I mentioned that. Absolutely adorable graphical style. Yes, Tunic, so cute. Exactly, Babs. I agree. No, pretty awesome. But yeah, we can start that up real quick here. Again, definitely stick around, say hello. And thanks again, each and every one of you, for continuing with us, for hanging out, and hopefully having a good time. I love you for it. But of course, regardless of my unending monologue here, I do hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you out there. And I definitely hope to see you soon. I'll see ya.